Be the best mom ever and maintain your sanity while we do it.
Nutrition is your new addiction. Go on and work it, lady. Yeah, that's how you work it, lady. It's never nor maybe this is how you get it, baby. Work.
You're listening to Work It Lady, where the goal is for all ladies to be the best versions of ourselves.
This topic today, and that is how I went caffeine free for 6 months, and this is what happened. I am just sharing my personal experience. Of course, for those of you who have been here for a minute, thank you so much. You know that this is a nutritional health podcast today. In addition to many topics that we cover here on the podcast, I am your nutritional health coach, Clary, and I often do experiments for my own benefit and share them with you. And I hope something in there is helpful for you too. Okay. So I went caffeine free for 6 months. Now, let me just give you a little bit of backstory. There's certain types of caffeine I have been free of for years. Like I have not drank coffee in years, probably over a decade. If you're interested in why, there is another podcast, YouTube video that you can check out that goes into depth on, coffee's effect on the liver because it is the beans are burned and all that stuff, all the information behind it. So check that one out. But I haven't had coffee in years, but I was still like sucking down a lot of green tea and caffeinated tea. So you know me, I'm always striving to be healthier, improve, do what I can. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just see what happens if I completely go caffeine free. Let's see if it helps with like, some different ailments, that I have. Let's see if it helps with a little bit of anxiety that I got and things like that. And man, guys, I am excited to share this information with you today because now that I've made the change and seen the light, I won't be going back except for on the occasional vacation. Okay. I recently took a little vacay and definitely was like, okay, this is a cultural thing, this is just, what we drink. So let's go ahead and have some sweet tea, okay, for the benefit and education of my children. So did that, but caffeine and alcohol for me will now just be on vacation or special events only. Other than that, it will not be consumed at all over here. So let me tell you some of the things that I noticed. There are three main things we're going to cover in today's episode. Let's start with number one thing that was huge. No more stomach irritation, y'all. That was crazy. I noticed this I'll say about 4 weeks in. I was like, wait a minute, my stomach doesn't have that almost kind of like something scratching the inside of your tummy. It's not you're not sick from food or it's not cramps, it's not anything like that. It's literally like the lining of your stomach just feels like it's being scratched or it's agitated or almost like dry, although that's not a thing, but that's what it would feel like if I could describe it. So if you have felt like that before, it might be a good idea for you to cut out the caffeine. And when I say caffeine, I'm not just talking coffee. Again, I'm talking caffeinated teas, sodas, all of the caffeine. Now, here's what I found when I did do some research after the fact about caffeine. So, caffeine has been shown to cause frequent contractions in the digestive tract and can also increase stomach acidity by triggering the production of more gastric acid. And according to National Institutes of Health, the action of coffee on stomach acid secretion has raised the issue of possible dyspepsia or poor digestion, discomfort, nausea, and all those things. And that's up on National Institutes of Health. Institutes of Health does a great job of being very transparent and sharing all the information that they research and do and have with us. So we're so happy that, this is one area that is very transparent and helpful, and we just love that, right? So That is very interesting. So if you are someone, I would imagine, if you've got like ulcers or something like that, you definitely probably will want to kick the caffeine. Now, here's something else to keep in mind. This is just my personal opinion, and I'm sharing things from, legitimate sources like National Institutes of Health, CDC, all of those things, official sources, and other things like, well, let's see, what are some other good ones? Mayo Clinic, Yale University, and even some, like very well-known health blogs and things like that do their due diligence. Okay. So, that is just my 2 cents. Of course, I am not a doctor. If you are having any major issues with anything, please consult a physician. This is just me sharing my 2 cents with you. If it helps you, great, okay? So that was the main thing that I noticed 4 weeks in, no stomach irritation. My stomach just felt calm and it did not feel, agitated. Or anything like that, which for me, I was like, "Hey, I like this feeling. I like this feeling." So, I'm going to keep with that. Okay. So let's go into the next thing, y'all, which is a huge one. Okay. A huge one. Less anxiety. This one was like big for me because now I'm not someone who has a lot of like anxiety day to day that I just like wake up anxious. I'm anxious to talk to people. I don't have like what I call daily chronic anxiety like that. I only get like anxiety around certain scenarios or very specific triggers that are pretty few. So I'm not a person that, is on anxiety meds, and all of that business. So again, make sure you do your due diligence for you. Speak with your doctor, if you have anxiety or anything like that. But, simply cutting out caffeine is not anything I feel anyone would tell you not to do. It's pretty, well known that there are side effects that negatively impact health from caffeine. And I definitely experienced less anxiety since I have been off of the caffeine for 6 months. Now, let's share some actual things on anxiety outside of my personal experience with you. So, while the side effects of caffeine and anxiety can be like, people who have a panic disorder, caffeine consumption can raise the risk of having a panic attack and increases levels of anxiety. Okay. And according to National Institutes of Health, caffeine intake and anxiety, they give this little report, a meta analysis. This was actually a 2024 article. The results confirm that caffeine intake is associated with an elevated risk of anxiety in healthy individuals without psychiatric disorders. So imagine if you do have a psychiatric disorder, you have been diagnosed officially from a doctor with some sort of disorder, from anything, bipolar disorder, panic attacks, any of the things, chronic anxiety. This could really be a huge one for you because if it's affecting people who don't even have anxiety, that, are overall healthy individuals in that space, imagine how it is affecting you because your hormones and everything are already a little bit, in a different arrangement, I'll say, so this may be something that can really help you out. So, again, speak with your doctor, do what's best for you, and, this might be something that you want to get into. Now, what I've noticed is I just am more calm. I'm not as reactive. I'm not as easily agitated. I'm able to be like, okay, let's calm down. Let's refocus when, I'm in a time where, you're annoyed or stressed. So that is what I feel has been the biggest thing for me. And so this is a simple, we're always looking for these natural things to do, right? Sometimes it's not about something you have to actually do. Sometimes it's something that you just need to cut out. You know what I mean? Stop doing certain things. And this is a natural thing to do. Just don't drink caffeine. That's natural. That in itself is a natural thing that you are doing. Okay. So it has really helped me. I'm sticking with it. Definitely feel less anxiety, definitely feeling a lot better, and everything. So definitely happy, happy, happy about that. All right, let's move into our last one. And then I also have a bonus one for y'all too after this one. Better sleep. So for the first few times in like years, I woke up and was like, hey, I'm waking up feeling refreshed. I feel like I actually slept last night. And this took me probably about 4 months to realize. So, if you're going to do this experiment, which I highly encourage you to do, have a little journal if you like to journal, or even just write it down in your notepad on your phone. Do something, girl. But, when you're feeling something or you notice something, write it down so that you can really, take note of that, and then you can maybe even get into the days and the times and really kind of hone in on yourself, because these are great ways to do your own self-care. Okay. So that is something that I noticed about 4 months in. I was like, wow, waking up feeling more refreshed, and I am sleeping better now. This is a little share here. I had went through probably about almost a year period of just not being able to sleep well. Like I, just would toss and turn all night, could not sleep. So this experiment kind of was a part of that. I'm like, okay, I am not sleeping well. Instead of just running to the doctor and being like, hey, I can't sleep, give me something. Let me evaluate my lifestyle. Let me evaluate the things that are a part of my daily diet and the things that I do, and figure out why this is happening. Okay, because it takes time sometimes for things to show up. And so I was like, I don't drink coffee, but I do drink a lot of green tea. Maybe this would be a time, after, reading that, caffeine non-discriminatorily, not just coffee caffeine, but tea caffeine as well, or soda caffeine can also, be a part of this. So that is another reason why I decided to do this experiment, to really try to get some better sleep, because it was really starting to affect me. So I really feel that this has helped me a lot. After realizing it and then keeping with this, I have noticed that I have been able to fall asleep at night. Now I'm gonna tell myself a little bit. The other thing that will mess you up real bad with the insomnia, ladies, is the phone use at night, which is another thing that I do. So, but even with still not changing my habit of like my nighttime phone use before bed and implementing the caffeine, I am still sleeping more. So, in my personal experiment, it's worked out to where, I can still sleep and get a good night's sleep, even if I go on my phone for less time, even if I'm not having caffeine. So if I'm not having caffeine, regardless of if I use my phone, as long as it's not too long, I am able to fall asleep at night. So getting your night's sleep, again, as you know, is also something that helps a lot with anxiety. If you're not getting sleep, you are more prone to anxiety, because not sleeping in itself also raises your hormone levels. Okay. So let's talk about insomnia and sleep, around caffeine. Okay. And so the effect of caffeine, the consumption of caffeine in response to insufficient sleep, may impair an onset and maintenance of sufficient sleep. Okay. So that one, I kind of, I'm a little bit foggy on. But here's a little bit more. Caffeine use can exacerbate sleep deprivation, okay, and sleep loss, um, which can in turn increase your need to consume caffeine. So, it just can really get you into not the best place. And that is according to the sleepfoundation.org. So you definitely don't want to overuse it. You don't want to overdo it with the caffeine. And if you can cut it out altogether, like I did, all is going to be really good for you. So again, just making sure that you understand, get off, if you can, of the caffeinated drinks. I also have not regularly consumed soda in over a decade. That's, something that I don't do also. But the green tea, I was hitting pretty heavy in the caffeinated teas. So definitely, be careful there. So I definitely would encourage you guys, to get in tune with yourself, do this experiment. And before we get out of here, I do have one additional tip that I wanted to share that I feel and there's nothing else that I can say, any huge experiment that I can point to that's been done officially, but I noticed during this 6-month period, I have had more hair growth. For those of you who've been a member of the channel for a while, you know that I have had issues with hair loss due to my Hashimoto's. And my hair is growing really, really well right now. So, I don't know exactly and I can't pinpoint why, but that is just something else that has happened in this 6-month period without doing too many other things. I have been having more pineapple and increasing certain fruits. So that could also be a part of it as well. But I thought it was important to note. So I know those of us who, if you have patch hair loss or, maybe it's a chronic thing for you or whatever it is, regardless, we're always on the hunt for anybody who has a tip or something that they feel like has helped. And this is something that I do feel like has helped. So I would encourage you, if you're experiencing hair loss, maybe give this one a try. Limit the caffeine and see if that helps, because even our hair loss, the certain types are affected by certain hormones that attack the hair follicles. So maybe this just kind of helps to quiet everything. I'm not sure, but hey, girl, give it a try. Stopping coffee or tea, caffeinated tea ain't gonna hurt nothing. You know what I mean? So why not? All right, y'all. Well, I really hope that you have found this information helpful today. If you are new here, hey, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you will subscribe to the channel, subscribe here on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. And yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
And if you happen to be a mom, be the best mom ever and maintain your